For those who came of age in the 60s and 70s, it was a golden era filled with fond memories. Many of us cherished moments in wood-paneled, shag-carpeted rec rooms, tuning in to 8-track tapes. It was a time of polyester fashion and bell-bottom jeans, marked by events like Watergate, the conclusion of the Vietnam War, and the rise of summer blockbuster movies. Let's reminisce about some of those iconic experiences from growing up during this vibrant period. Shag carpeting really did look hideous, but it was also surprisingly comfortable on bare feet. After all, you could lay on the carpet and make angel patterns on the living room floor. Beyond the soft touch, it also came in a variety of earthy shades, from rust orange and moss green to sunshine yellow and sky blue. On top of those shag carpets were most likely couches or decorative pillows upholstered in big floral prints. Let's also not forget about the macrame owl you had hanging around the house too. The 60s and 70s will always be celebrated for introducing the world to the first home video game, Pong. This groundbreaking game, launched by Atari in 1972 as an arcade game, revolutionized the gaming industry. It was essentially a digital version of table tennis, featuring a white dot moving between two white lines, representing paddles. If you enjoyed playing Pong, chances are you also have fond memories of defending against alien invaders in the arcade classic Space Invaders, which debuted later in the decade. One of the most popular toys of the time was something called clackers. They were two heavy balls attached to a string that you banged together to make noise. They actually turned out to be quite dangerous and were eventually banned. There's also no doubt you begged your parents for $4 so that you could buy a pet rock. You gotta feed your pet rock, dress it up with googly eyes, and take it for a walk, just like a real pet. Do you remember the cool metal lunchboxes you used to carry to school? The sturdy tins protected your bologna sandwiches and were often decorated with cartoons, superheroes, or your favorite movie characters. And of course, don't forget the matching thermos that came with it. In the 70s, many kids were inspired by Adam Rich's hairstyle from the TV show 8 is Enough, prompting them to ask their parents for a bowl haircut. If you're not familiar with this style, it's quite literal. A bowl placed on the head, while the hair around it is trimmed with scissors. The end result often resembled wearing a salad bowl as headgear, a hallmark of the 70s. But if this haircut was good enough for sports figures like baseball player Pete Rose and Olympic figure skater Dorothy Hamill, it was deemed stylish enough for just about anyone. Who could forget the educational animated shorts that popped up during your usual Saturday morning cartoon lineup? Without you realizing, Schoolhouse Rock taught you timeless lessons about grammar, math, and physics, politics, and science. The cartoons were funny and the songs were catchy. I'm sure you can still sing the whole Conjunction Junction, What's Your Function song without missing a beat. One of the trendiest accessories of the time was the mood ring, a ring that supposedly reflected your emotions. A blue color indicated calm or relaxation, amber signaled nervousness or anxiety, and black hinted that you were close to losing your temper. To unwind, many would lie on their beds and flip through the pages of the latest Tiger Beat magazine. At school, especially during gym class, you wouldn't be caught dead without a classy pair of tube socks. At the time, it was quite the fashion statement. If those socks reached all the way up to your knees, even better. Rarely in the history of fashion has a clothing style been universally accepted by both men and women. But that was the case, especially with the shortest of shorts and colorful striped tube socks. One movie, The Chilling Jaws by Steven Spielberg, was enough to make an entire generation afraid of the ocean. Released in the summer of 1975, this film scared audiences with its 25-foot mechanical shark and set the standard for summer blockbusters. After watching it, both kids and adults found themselves nervously checking the water for shark fins whenever they visited the beach. When Star Wars first hit movie theaters in 1977, it was unlike anything the world had ever seen. It was immersive, and the special effects were groundbreaking. If you ask anyone who saw the original Star Wars in theaters about their experience, they'll probably be able to tell you every little detail, right down to how long they waited in line. For many kids, Star Wars defined their childhood. Kids were absolutely obsessed with the movie franchise, and they wanted every Star Wars toy that was released. Do you recall learning the hustle dance for the first time? The song debuted in 1975, sparking a dance craze that everyone wanted to join. The YMCA and the chicken dance also came about during this era, causing similar dance crazes where everyone would join in. In the 1970s, music was a huge part of life. Fans didn't just admire their favorite bands, they played their records on repeat and adorned their bedroom walls with posters of them. Many people also developed a fondness for 8-track tapes. These portable music players became increasingly popular, with some car manufacturers even installing 8-track tape players in their new car models. This allowed you to enjoy your favorite tunes while driving around your hometown. While not the most user-friendly music format, people absolutely loved them. Every decade has its top music genre, and in the 70s, disco reigned supreme. If you were brave enough to go to an actual disco, you could get down to the sounds of KC and the Sunshine Band, the Bee Gees and the Tramps. Even the Rolling Stones released a disco track to get in on the trend. If that wasn't enough disco for you, you could even strap on some skates and head over to the roller disco. These fast-paced parties would be complete with shiny outfits, bright lights, and of course, groovy tunes. Back in the day, TVs weren't the high-definition marvels they are now. Having clear reception was considered a stroke of luck, ensuring you didn't have to deal with fuzzy screens or wavy lines. You'd often find yourself adjusting the rabbit ear antennas to get a better picture. Late-night talk shows and 24-hour programming weren't common back then. If you tuned in to the TV after midnight, you'd typically see a test card displaying color bars. Speaking of television, for teens, Happy Days was the coolest of shows. But adults also had to get a weekly dose of the TV show MASH. There were other popular shows, of course, like The $6 Million Man and Charlie's Angels, which contributed to 1970s pop culture in their own way. You may also remember staying up to watch some of the very first episodes of Saturday Night Live. This was back when cast members like Chevy Chase, John Belushi, and Gilda Radner were at their best, making the entire country laugh together. A 1970s party would never be complete without a cheese log or a cheese ball. These must-have snacks involved shredded cheddar, cream cheese, butter, and chopped nuts for rolling. Another 70s food gem was launched by Betty Crocker in 1971 called Hamburger Helper. This easy-to-make hearty dinner fed millions of us with just a box of pasta. Even if you didn't care much for politics in the 1970s, everyone was talking about Watergate. Each night, the evening news reported new details of the scandal, and seeing Richard Nixon leave the White House forever as he boarded a helicopter was one of the most surreal moments of the 1970s, regardless of what side you were on. The 60s and 70s are packed with cherished memories that transport us back to a time that feels both familiar and distant. It's enjoyable to look back on the trends and fads of those days. Please share your own memories of growing up back in the day in the comments below. And as always, thank you very much for watching.